Okay, my first question to you is, how did you get started as an actor and a stuntman? How did you?
Well, so my mother was an actress, so growing up, I was around the business my whole life. I didn't initially go into the business. I was actually an executive in a manufacturing company. And what happened was I went back to school, and to get my degree, I had to take an arts credit, so I took an acting class.
Uh-huh.
And that got me hooked. So after 21 years as an executive in a manufacturing company, I made a decision to make a career change. That was back in 1995, 96, and I actually made the change in 97.
Wow. And that was for acting and...
Yes. So the second half of your question, how did I get involved with stunts? So I was always in action, growing up, always going to the movies, always in, I loved that genre of film, action films, and, knew of stunt people, but I didn't realize that it was an option. I thought people went to stunt school university or something and got major degrees. And what I found out was, after I got into the business, that all of my pursuits that I did as hobbies, or like I shot handguns competitively. I was a certified scuba diver. I raced cars. All of those things that I did, the skill sets, translated more towards the stunt area. That was already developed. The acting I was working on and developing the craft.
Yeah.
And so I just tended to gravitate more towards the stunt elements. And then that actually, my management skills and really that was my background, kind of led me into stunt coordinating, because that's really about problem solving and managing. And so that was kind of the progression right there.
Yeah.
And it's been a 20-year process.
Yeah, long time, but
yes.
But you learn something new every day. You never stop learning.
Actually, you just said that's the most important part, is always learning and collaborating. I mean, when I started, everything was shot on film, and I doubt I've worked on two things that have been shot on film in the last few years. The last TV series that I worked on that was shot on film was Boardwalk Empire, and it's been off the air for a while.
Yeah.
So pretty much everything's digital now. CGI, just how much better it is in the last 5 years is almost mind-blowing. And every day it's changing, and if you're not staying current, you're just going to get left behind.
Yeah, you have to keep up to date with the technology, because technology has changed, with the entertainment industry, stunts or acting or,
Very much so. But one of the things that always does occur to me, and this is true throughout history, we tend to sometimes forget how things started. We forget the roots. We forget the basic rules. And one of the things that's important as you move forward is to listen to the people that did things in the past and understand why they did them. So even all of it, sound editing, and making your cuts, when you're shooting something, lighting. I mean, I very rarely see anybody with a light meter on set anymore. It surprises me. If I'm shooting something, I still have a light meter. So it's crazy.
Yeah, a lot has changed. Yeah. What is the most difficult part of being a stuntman or an actor?
I think probably as it's the world of being a freelance performer, because projects you'll get on a film and it might last 3 weeks or 3 months or it might be 8 months, and you get on that and you're working every day, and then if it's a really long film, then you're kind of off the market. Your agent isn't really submitting you, and people forget about you. So it's always trying to figure out, well, what's the next job you're going to do. If you end up working on something and it gets a bunch of awards, then that's a good generator for more work. But it's a hustle. Freelancing is a constant hustle to find out what you're going to do next. When a job is done.
Yeah. And I guess it's also difficult because you're constantly looking for work, I guess.
It is. But we're an industry of working with people that you know. There tend to be clusters of people that always work together.
Yeah.
I saw a study from University of Iowa many years ago. Maybe I think it was back in 2013, maybe 2011. But they were showing these clusters, and they talked about Judd Apatow.
Mm-hmm.
And he tends to, since Freaks and Geeks, if you look at all the projects that the people that were involved in Freaks and Geeks have moved, and he continues to work with those people. Or Ben Stiller, and there's a group with them. Owen Wilson, there's a group of people that they tend to work together. And so you see that. And, it's like Steven Spielberg. He has been using the same DP since Sid Schindler's List, Janusz Kaminski.
Mm-hmm.
So, Tom Hanks tends to work with the same people. So you can kind of see, you get a sense of what people can do. And, we are in a collaborative environment where you're putting pieces together and you're counting on the person that comes into their job to be very good at what they do. You tend to develop a shorthand with people that you work with a lot, so things will become more efficient. So that's a big part of it, who you know in this business. Yeah.
And you get to know a lot of people in this business, You get to know a whole bunch of different people, too.
You do. You do. I mean, Pete's a great example. You talked about Pete Papa George,
yeah,
and how you and I have connected. And I met Pete early on in my career. He was teaching a workshop through the Screen Actors Guild Conservatory program.
Mm-hmm.
When I was just getting started. And he's quite a musician and just a great guy. I worked with him. I think the first time in all the years that I've known him that we actually worked together was a film called Fowler's Point. I was stunt coordinating, and he had a really great acting role. And matter of fact, that film has been doing well on the film circuit, film festival circuit, and we'll be screening in New York on the 16th of February. But that was, in all the years I've known Pete, that was the first time that we had worked together, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. I've interviewed him before, and he's a nice man. He really knows a lot about acting, Nice person.
He does. He's a great guy. He really is. Very giving of his time and his talents, and very nurturing, just all-around great guy, and a very great musician.
Yeah. Do you have any upcoming projects as an actor or a stunt coordinator?
Well, I just got a call yesterday about a project. I don't even know the title of it, but they were looking for a stunt coordinator, and I sent them my resume and my demo reel, and I can't even tell you what the title is because I don't know. And that kind of happens. But I do have projects getting ready to come out, I hope, soon, that have gone through post-production. And one is a film called DC Noir, which is a series of 4 short stories that George Pelecanos has written that they put into a feature film. And I stunt coordinated that and had a small acting role.
Yeah.
That should be out probably mid-year. We don't know how it's going to be distributed yet. And then as far as an acting role, I had a pretty big role in a film called Fishbowl that was directed by Stephen and Alexa Kinninopoulos. And that was a brother-sister team. They actually have a music video right now that's out that got pretty good coverage in Rolling Stone. So those are getting ready to come out, and people will be able to see them. Oh, and I just did an episode of Quantico, which was I stunt doubled a guy on that show. That'll be out soon.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've been staying busy.
And that's good to keep busy, good to keep busy.
Yeah, and I actually stunt doubled, this is a funny story, I actually stunt doubled Bruce Willis for 3 days on a M. Night Shyamalan film called Glass. And that was, it was great. And it was 2 weeks before my 60th birthday, so it was kind of like a cool thing to be able to do in my advancing years.
Yeah, Bruce Willis is a good actor, and that's kind of it's an interesting story. You had to stunt double for him.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was like, I mean, we're close in age, but still, you know, he was like the action icon of my generation. You know, it's all the Die Hard films and Last Man Standing. There's just quite a number of amazing films and television. So yeah, it was kind of cool for me. A lot of fun.
Yeah. Are you more of a stunt coordinator, or do you mostly do the acting part, or do you kind of do both?
Well, what I like to say, because people ask this, I like to say I'm a storyteller, and film is my media.
Mm-hmm.
I have a short film that I'm in the process of editing right now that I'm very happy with, and I produced that, and I've got one that just went through film festivals that I directed and shot and wrote with my wife. So I don't want to limit myself. I will say that each thing that I do informs the other thing and makes it better.
Uh-huh.
But I would say right now I'm primarily a stunt coordinator, and it gives me probably the most joy because I get to collaborate and work through problems and help other departments to achieve what we're trying to get done. But I think it's really, you know, I hate to be defined by what I do. As far as the job that I do, I'd rather be defined by the art that I help create.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's amazing, you know. That is pretty amazing and interesting that you do all these different, you know, fields of background work, you know.
Yeah, but what happens is you really, as a stunt coordinator, you need to know all the other jobs. I mean, you need to know camera angles because you need to know breaking down a script because there's a lot of times, I mean, if you're doing a fall, the audience doesn't need to see all of it. You know, they can see the beginning and they can see the end. Their imagination can figure out the rest of it. So you can figure out the most safe pieces to film and leave the things that are maybe a little more dangerous and aren't necessary and not do that. And it's supporting the director's narrative, of course, the story, you know, the writer and the director, what their narrative is. But it's helping to get that done and keep everything safe.
Yeah. My last question to you is, now we have covered this a little bit, but what is your advice to people who want to be a stunt coordinator or an actor? What is your advice to people who want to be in that field of business?
My first piece of advice is live in an area where there's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
That's my first piece of advice. My second piece of advice, and actually this will go hand in hand, there's no shortcuts. You got to do the work. You know, go to school, take classes, and learn it all. You know, I touched on it a little bit about people skipping steps and forgetting the basics. If you want to film, you know, you asked specifically on acting, you know, get in there and work on that craft because it's hard. People think it's easy, but it's not. People that are good at it make it look easy. As far as stunt coordinating goes, you need to put your years in. That's not something that you can just jump into. You need to have an expertise, whether it be stunt driving, horseback riding, have some very important thing, a very important skill, a very good skill that you're the best at, and get out there and then learn the other things. Learn rigging and wire work and fire work, and expect that it's going to take 7 or 8 years before you even start having some level of success, because that's what it's going to take.
Yeah. it does take a long time. You know, I've talked to many people, and the act